Ramadan is a month of fasting and prayer. It brings us closer to Allah and each other. It brings us closer to Allah and each other.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen. Amma ba'd, fa'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Rasulallah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Habiballah. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Nabiyallah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Nurallah. The Prophet of mankind, the peace of our heart and mind, the most generous and kind sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam has stated, the one who recites salawat upon me 50 times in a day, on the day of judgment I will shake hands with him. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah azza wa jal, my dear viewers, in this beautiful silsila of the blessings of Ramadan, Alhamdulillah azza wa jal, in the last episode I discussed about the blessings of i'tikaf, and in this episode I shall also discuss the blessings of i'tikaf. I'tikaf implies staying in the masjid with the intention of i'tikaf for the pleasure of Allah azza wa jal. Sanity and purity from janabat, in other words major impurity, are conditions for a Muslim. Puberty is not a condition. If a sane child remains in the masjid with the intention of i'tikaf, his i'tikaf will also be valid. The literal meaning of i'tikaf is to keep staying somewhere. In other words, a mu'takif persistently remains in the court of Allah Azza wa Jal to worship Him fervently. His sole aim is to please his Allah Azza wa Jal. Sayyidina Ata Khurasani Quddisa Sirruhun Nurani has said, a mu'takif is like the person who comes to the court of Allah Azza wa Jal and says, O Allah, my glorious Rabb Azza wa Jal, I won't leave until you forgive me. There are three types of i'tikaf. Number one, wajib. Number two, sunnah. Number three, nafil. Wajib i'tikaf is if a vow is made to perform i'tikaf by saying the words, for example, I will do i'tikaf on such and such day or so many days for Allah Azza wa Jal. It will become wajib to do i'tikaf for the number of days mentioned in the vow. It is particularly important that whenever any sort of vow is made, pronouncing it verbally is a condition. Just making an intention for a vow in heart without pronouncing it verbally is insufficient, and fulfilling such a vow is not wajib either. Men have to perform i'tikaf for vow in a masjid, whereas the women must perform it in the masjid of their homes, called Masjid-e-Bayt. The place a woman specifies for salah in her home is called Masjid-e-Bayt. Fast is also a condition for such an i'tikaf. I'tikaf in the last 10 days of Ramadan is sunnatul muakkada alal kifaya. This implies that if any one person from the whole city does i'tikaf, it will be sufficient for everyone in the city. But if nobody did it, then everyone is blameworthy. In this i'tikaf, it is necessary to get to the masjid with the intention of i'tikaf before the sun sets on the 20th of Ramadan, and stay there until the crescent of Shawwal appears on the 29th or the sun sets on the 30th. If someone enters the masjid after the sunset on the 20th of Ramadan, the sunnatul muakkada of i'tikaf will remain unfulfilled. Further, even if he entered the masjid before the sunset but forgot to make the intention, example, there was no intention in heart at all, still the sunnatul muakkada of i'tikaf will remain unfulfilled. If he makes the intention after the sunset, it will be a nafil i'tikaf. The intention of the heart is sufficient. Pronouncing it verbally is not a condition. However, it is better to pronounce it verbally provided the intention is present in heart. Make the intention of i'tikaf in these words. I intend to do the sunnah i'tikaf in the last 10 days of Ramadan for the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jal. Apart from the i'tikaf of vow or sunnatul muakkada, any other type of i'tikaf is nafil and sunnatul ghair muakkada. Fasting is not a condition in this i'tikaf, and there is no time limit for it either. Whenever you enter a masjid, make the intention of i'tikaf. You will earn the reward for i'tikaf for as long as you remain in the masjid, regardless of whether or not you perform any good deed, such as reciting invocations or offering any salah. As soon as you exit the masjid, this i'tikaf will end. Allah Hazrat Rahmatullahi Ta'ala alayh has stated, the fatwa is that fasting is not a condition for nafil i'tikaf. It can be done even for a single moment. You should make the intention of i'tikaf as soon as you enter the masjid. You will attain the reward of offering salah as well as that of waiting for salah, in addition to the reward of i'tikaf for as long as you stay in the masjid. He Rahmatullahi Ta'ala alayh has further stated, whenever you enter a masjid, make the intention of i'tikaf. You will get reward for i'tikaf as long as you are in the masjid. Making the intention of i'tikaf isn't difficult. Intention refers to the intention of the heart, the willingness of heart to do something. It is sufficient to make an intention in the heart, like I intend to perform the Sunnah of i'tikaf. To utter these words verbally along with the intention of the heart is better. One can also utter it in one's own language. Saying it in Arabic is better. If possible, learn the following Arabic intention, as mentioned in part 2 of Al-Malfuz, page 272. Nawaitu sunnat al-i'tikaf. I intend to fulfill the sunnah of i'tikaf. Remember, by Sharia, it is not allowed to eat, drink and sleep in the masjid. But if one makes the intention of i'tikaf, he will be allowed to do these acts in the masjid. In most of the masajid here, people recite Salat al-Nabi, etc. and then blow on water which Islamic brothers drink for blessings. No doubt, this is a good deed. But if an Islamic brother hasn't made the intention of i'tikaf, he cannot drink this water inside the masjid. Similarly, only those who have made the intention of i'tikaf can do iftar in the masjid. Even in Masjidul Haram, one should make the intention of i'tikaf before drinking Zamzam water, doing iftar or going to sleep. Likewise, one cannot drink water, etc. without making the intention for i'tikaf in Masjid al-Nabawi. It is also important that one shouldn't make the intention of i'tikaf just to eat, drink or sleep. It should be made to earn reward. It is stated in Raddul Muhta Shami, if someone wants to eat, drink or sleep in a masjid, he should make the intention of i'tikaf, make some zikr, and then do what he wants. In other words, eat, drink or sleep. But dear viewers, the best masjid for i'tikaf is Masjidul Haram, then Masjid al-Nabawi, then Masjid al-Aqsa, and then any Jami masjid, where the 5 daily salah are offered with Jamaat. If salah is not offered with Jamaat in the Jami masjid, it is then better to do i'tikaf in the masjid of one's area. It is not a condition to do i'tikaf in the Jami masjid. Instead, i'tikaf can be done in any masjid-e-Jamaat. A masjid-e-Jamaat is such a masjid in which there is an officially appointed imam and a muaddin. Though the Jamaat of 5 daily salah is not held over there, it has also been said that the i'tikaf is valid in any masjid, even if it isn't a masjid-e-Jamaat. Nowadays, there are many such masajid in which there is neither imam or muazzin. But dear mu'takif viewers, as you are to spend 10 complete days in the masjid, it is appropriate to learn a few etiquettes about the masjid's honor. During i'tikaf, it is permissible to engage in necessary worldly conversation, keeping the voice down and taking care about the honor of the masjid. One should not shout while talking. The masjid shouldn't echo with sounds of oi, what, and bursts of laughter. This is a sin. Remember, even a mu'takif is not allowed to speak about worldly matters unnecessarily. Sayyidina Hassan Basri, alayhi rahmatullah al-Qawi, has narrated that the Prophet al-Rahmah, the intercessor ummah, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, has stated, يَأْتِي عَلَى النَّاسِ زَمَانٍ يَكُونُ حَدِيثُهُمْ فِي مَسَاجِدِهِمْ فِي أَمْرِ دُنْيَاهُمْ فَلَا تُجَالِسُوهُمْ فَلَيْسَ لِلَّهِ فِيهِمْ حَاجَةٌ. Upon people a time will come when they will talk about worldly matters in the masajid. Do not sit with them, for they have nothing to do with Allah Azza wa Jal. Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala an has narrated that the Prophet of mankind, the peace of our heart and mind, the most generous and kind, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, has said, Man sami'a rajulan yanshudu dallatan fil masjid فَقُولُوا لَا رَدَّهَا اللَّهُ عَلَيْكَ فَإِنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ لَمْ تُبْنَى لِهَذَا. Whoever finds someone searching loudly for his lost thing in the masjid should say, may Allah Azza wa Jal not let you find what you have lost, because masajid have not been made for this purpose. But dear viewers, the people who look for the lost shoes or other things in the masajid should learn a lesson from the foregoing hadith. You must prevent every such activity that causes a noise and desecrates the masjid's honor. Masajid are not made for worldly conversations, joking, laughing, and any other useless activity. Instead, they are made for divine worship. The blessed companions, radiallahu ta'ala anhum, would strongly dislike loud conversations in the masjid, as mentioned in the following narration. Sayyidina Sa'ib bin Yazid radiallahu ta'ala anh has said, I was once standing in the masjid when someone threw a tiny piece of stone at me. As I turned round, I saw that it was Sayyidina Umar Farooq Azam radiallahu ta'ala an. He asked me with gestures to bring those two men to him. I did as he radiallahu ta'ala an asked. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala an asked them, where are you from? They replied, Ta'if. He radiallahu ta'ala an said, if you are the residents of Madinatul Munawwara, who are well aware of the masjid's honor, I would definitely punish you because you raised your voices in the masjid of the beloved and blessed Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sayyidina Mullah Ali Qari alayhi rahmatullah al-Bari has narrated with the reference of Muhaqqiq al-Itlaq Shaykh Ibn Humam rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, al-kalamu al-mubahu fil masjid makruhun ya'kulu al-hasanat. Mubah, permissible speech in the masjid is makruh tahrimi, and ruins virtuous deeds. Sayyidina Anas bin Malik radiallahu ta'ala an has narrated that the Prophet of mankind, the peace of our heart and mind, the most generous and kind sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam has said, Ad-dahku fil masjid dhulumatun fil qabr. Laughing in the masjid causes darkness in the grave. I pray to Allah Azza wa Jal that He gives us all the ability to do i'tikaf, but in a respectful manner. آمين بجاه النبي الأمين صلى الله تعالى عليه وآله وسلم. صلوا على الحبيب صلى الله تعالى على محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وآله وسلم.
Ramadan is a month of fasting and prayer. It brings us closer to Allah and each other. It brings us closer to Allah and each other.